Time for a flip through of Junk Journal January. It's looking a bit chunky. Alright, let's go. We'll do it day by day. Let's just get straight into it and hopefully it won't be too long. So day one was resolutions, so I decided to just make my cover and put my resolution on the front. I these days don't make New Year's resolutions. I find that by the 10th or maybe earlier they're gone and don't stick to it, and they usually involve eating better or exercising. And in Australia in January it's absolutely boiling hot. This year I decided on a word, and my word for this year is journey. So I just wrote a couple of things down about it. So that was my thought. So my word for the year is journey. So that's my resolutions, and that was my junk journal cover. Now last year for Junk Journal July, I don't know if you watched then, but I did a flip through and my journal was only this size. So you can see I've gone a lot bigger for Junk Journal January. I think when I did this, I didn't have as much confidence that I'd be able to fill the pages, so I chose smaller pages. There's a flip through of that on my other videos if you're interested in having a look. So yeah, this year I decided I was going to go bigger. So that's January 1 done. Let's move to January the 2nd. And of course it was starry, and I still had some Christmas cards left over, and I just love the shape of this Christmas tree, so I thought I would just make it into a dress with one of the dollies, and I just cut out little slots and just made that like that, so that yeah, when I did the Instagram post, I think I said that she'd been shopping for a couple of days straight from the New Year's Eve party. All right, day 3 is stained. Now this was a day when I was going to use tea bags because I love using tea bags, but everything I did just didn't look right, didn't sit right, and I thought to myself, what am I going to do? And then lo and behold, when I picked up the tea bags, underneath where I'd sat them was a bit of kitchen paper, a bit of kitchen roll, and it looked better than the page that I was doing. So I decided to use the kitchen roll and a couple of Japanese teapots, and then I stuck a tea bag on and just stenciled it and then just sort of drew over the top. So that was day 3, stained. Day 4 was a decorative tag, so I just did lots and lots of things on this tag, lots of different bits and pieces, collage. And day 4, then I just made it a pocket for it to sit in, and that was that. Day 5 is routine, so I decided to do it like a pinwheel, and I've got all the different things that I do for my routine. So I love nature, sit out in my garden. If you've seen any of my Instagram posts, I absolutely love sitting out in my garden. I see birds and butterflies and bees and all sorts of things. I'm having a smoothie now once a day with lots of different vitamins in it. Trying to be creative every day, trying to get up around about the same time. I always have coffee every day. I'm just writing and drawing and embroidery and writing poetry, and I go to bed when I'm tired. All right, next one is day 6 is stitched. So I had this piece of leftover fabric and I just slow stitched all over it. Put buttons on, and then behind it is just things to do with sewing. It was just a simple one that day, but I quite like how it turned out. All right, day 7 is shimmer. Now I'm going to take this off and show you. The original page was a disaster. I had to rip it off and do all sorts of things, so I ended up making it on a separate piece of paper, which is actually a book page, the first page of a book. And then I'd seen this girl, I had an idea to add wings to her, and then I wrote use your wings, and I actually used some texture paste here through a doily, and it's come out really quite well. So yeah, I used that for that one for shimmer, and then I just stuck it in later. Day 8 is blossom, so I used embroidery for that. stuck a little piece of fabric over the top of my butterfly, etc. So yeah, that turned out really well as well. Number 9 is hidden. So I made a tag, and these two little guys here, boy and a girl, one of them's hidden behind the belly band, whichever way you put it, so that way or that way. And then I also made an envelope which opened out, and it had some other hidden treasures inside it. So that was day 9. All right, day 10 was intricate. So I had the idea of putting lace, and then it looked a bit plain on the page, so I did some slow stitching. And then I also cut up a page of a calligraphy book, and this is actually quite a famous piece of writing, I think, by Leonardo da Vinci, but then I couldn't remember which order it came in. It's in a different language, so please excuse me if somebody can read it and it's all garbled around. So that's intricate. And day 11 is pocket. So I cut up pockets. I have quite a few of these that sit at the back of my desk. You know, I make them from old book pages. Here they are. They're easy to fold. And instead of chucking an old book page away, I'll just make one of those pockets, and they're great to use in your journals. And the next one is throwback. So I turned my journal on the side this time and did a photograph of myself. I think I was about 22. And I remember being outside a hotel, and this Rolls Royce pulled up, and I just sort of cheekily leaned on it, and somebody snapped a photo. So the next one is hobbies, and I just listed all my hobbies: stamps, collecting embroidery. You get the idea. All right, the next page was from the day. So I work on the weekends still, and I hope you can see this, but it's a picture of a really drab looking desk with a telephone, and that's what I do for a living. I work weekends, and I'm on the telephone for a large company, and I do all their online, and that's how I feel sometimes. I sit at my desk and I just feel like I don't want to be here, I want to be somewhere else. And the next one is barcode. So I stuck a barcode down, it looked a little bit plain, so then I used a piece of greaseproof paper and stuck it over the top. You can see the barcode showing through here, and I stuck some old photos of old opera singers in there. The next one is folded. So when my boys were growing up, one or the other of them loved doing this Japanese origami, and he said to me, "Look, Mum, I made this," and I'd kept it, and when I moved recently, of course went through every drawer and I found it, and I just couldn't bear to chuck it out, but then I've used it in my art, which is really nice. And the next one is top 5. So I chose books for this: Fifth Agreement, Eros, Labyrinth of the Spirits, The Four Agreements, and The Actor. A lot of them are by Don Miguel Ruiz. He's a brilliant writer. If you haven't read The Four Agreements or The Fifth Agreement, I'd encourage you to do so. Brilliant books. And of course The Labyrinth of the Spirits, just one of many fantastic books by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. So then we moved on to maps, and this is a pretty simple page too. I just used some old tags that I had. There's tea bags in the background which I've just stained, and a map with made it like a pin board. Next one is hand lettered. So I decided to just do a collage at the back, and then I just did my own writing. So that was just a little bit of writing that I did. And next one is texture. So for this one I did a doily. So I picked up a whole load of old doilies. You'll see it on my Instagram post. And I used Mod Podge or matte medium textured paste. I cut up a few more. I had an old picture in the background. I then stamped over the top, so the whole page is really, really textured. Came out really good. The next one is experimental. So this one was late one night. I decided to do the prompt, and I had a whole load of gum leaves that I'd got off my garden, and I painted my hand with green. It's a Kaiser colour. I then just went like this. I teabagged over the top of it, stuck the leaves on, and then teabagged over the top of those. And I think when I put the picture on Insta, I had a frame around here as well, and it just says beauty in all nature. So yeah, they're forever under there now. This one is old and new. So for that, I'm going to take you to my wall and show you my old and new, because I use the Chinese New Year. So I'm going to insert that here now. This one is old and new, and I decided because it fell on Chinese New Year that was a good enough thing to choose. So down the left hand side it says wish you good luck. It says down the left hand side. And then I've got a money envelope here, which the Chinese give. There's a Chinese coin, and of course it's the year of the rabbit. I'd had this rabbit on my desk forever, so he's now found a forever home. And then I had this beautiful fabric, so what I've done is just attached it to my wall near some other things, and I see it when I walk in. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Alright, I'm back. The next one is stickers. So I have a whole load of these really large stickers, like page size. And I use another bit of doily, dyed it green, stamps. It was just a pretty basic page, this one. Stickers, yeah. Scenery. I had a really old postcard. I have lots of old postcards actually. And then I had dried some gerberas, which started off red. I don't know why they ended up brown, but the page turned out really well. And I used another one of the old doilies, and I stuck it on, and I sort of cut the doily, if you can see there, and stuck some of it going down the back of the card, some of it around the outside, and then I matte mediumed over the top of the dried flowers. It's funny how they went brown when they started off red. So yeah, and then always take the scenic route. I just added a little thing to that one. And then the next one is one colour. So with this one I decided to use white because I found a picture that was just, it sort of disappeared into nothing. You couldn't really use it for anything else. So I cut up a doily again, a smaller doily, attached it to a white piece of handmade paper, attached to a white piece of lace, and then I just texture paste over her hair and around her face, just in certain parts to bring her out, and then slow stitched in parts. So it's all just white. There, just one colour. Alright, the next one is wordy. So I used a page from a book. Well, it was already a page that was in the journal, but it was from a book. And then I collaged over the top of certain things, and I left some words. So she again created the record that those who don't believe in magic will never find it. And then I put fabric on, I drew hearts. Yeah, it was just a fun page to do, did some squiggles. Next one is earth tones. So this is a really lovely page with the leaves and a bit of bark from the trees. And then I already had a bookmark that had some dried flowers inside it, and I was looking for the opportunity to use it. So I just made it its own little pocket, some hessian at the back, and then just wrote earth. Then antique. So I have this beautiful piano roll that I'd been sort of hoarding, really. Didn't want to cut it up, but today was the day, so I cut that up. Added a picture of Dame Nellie Melba, who was an Australian opera singer way back in the day. Stuck a few things on, made a little bit of a scrappy thing there. So that was a pretty simple page as well. Did a little bit of stenciling again. Quite like how it turned out and the colour of it. And musical. Oh, hang on a minute. No, that's wrong. All right, so this is antique. This is an antique postcard that I used. I love purchasing antique postcards. This was written in 1925 on March the 25th, and the writing is just so gorgeous. We just don't do all that anymore, and I love to think that, you know, even though the people that sent it and received it are all dead now, I've still got that postcard. So that's antique, and then this is musical. Right, sorry, I got those two mixed up. I don't know why they're out of sequence. I must have decided to use musical on a musical page and antique on a different page, but yeah. And I used some old tag. That's an old tag. Stuck that down. So yeah, love using that. And I just used lace hinges to hold it down. So yeah, turned out okay. Unexpected, I'm going to take you back to my wall. And this is unexpected. So I chose this because when I did my family tree, it was pretty unexpected that I discovered that my great-grandfather, Alec, had been a prisoner of war in World War One. So he was wounded, and I don't know if you can see, but the army book there has a mark. That mark there, that was where the bullet hit him. But it did actually go through and damaged his leg, and the conditions were really bad in the camp. He nearly lost his leg. But anyway, that's him there in peacetime, and this is him in the camp here, the one with the white trousers on. So obviously he didn't have his uniform on because his trousers would have been damaged when he was wounded. And then that's the London Gazette at the back there, and the OBE that he was awarded by the King. So yeah, that was all unexpected. And I'm back, and I did, instead of close, I used the word close instead, as in close up. And this is a picture of the beautiful Elizabeth Taylor. Look at those cheekbones. Oh. And I used some old book spines around the edge. This is Elizabeth Taylor when she was in Helen of Troy. I mean, she's just stunning. Absolutely stunning. So yeah, I just sort of roughed up the page, and then I used some textured paste and gesso just to get the colours I wanted. I used ink underneath and let it run when it was wet. Yeah, I was quite happy with how that turned out. And that was my junk journal January. So quite a body of work. I love looking back through it. It's quite chunky, but yeah, really happy with how that turned out. So leave me a comment below, let me know what you think. But I really encourage you, the next one will be Junk Journal July, and that's with Meg from Meg's Journal. So yeah, I encourage you to get involved. It's great, great fun, great community. All right, see you next time. Bye-bye.